Now, 8 Iraqi soldiers have been killed in an ISIL attack on military barracks in Anbar province east of Fallujah. Military sources say 13 soldiers were injured when fighters from the group drove a vehicle up to the post. The injured included Shia militias who are fighting against ISIL with the Iraqi army. Still to come here on the programme, we've got all the sport for you. More on the Swiss authorities opening criminal proceedings against FIFA's top man. That's coming up after the break. Welcome back. Now, just 10% of Bangladeshis are connected to the internet, but it's already transforming lives. In some areas, farmers and labourers are making 10 times what they used to by selling things online. Maha Sata reports.
Ashikur Rahman's office isn't very impressive. He doesn't even have a chair. But it's a big improvement from his previous job. Ashikur used to work as a day labourer in the garment accessory industry, making $58 a month. Then he went online, selling fashion products, electronics, and anything else he can get his hands on from nearby wholesalers to customers all over Bangladesh.
I didn't have any capital, so it was impossible for me to start a real business. Then I realized I could sell things online without needing to already have a lot of money.
A quarter of the sellers on the website Ashikur uses to sell his goods come from rural areas like him. But his location presents him with his biggest obstacle, getting his orders delivered. It takes Ashikur 2 hours, including a boat ride, to get to the nearest delivery service that he can trust. While logistical problems can be a pain for Ashikur, they're also a reason behind the fast-growing popularity of online retailing. For most customers, coming to a large marketplace in the city center can be a real nightmare because of Bangladesh's notorious traffic. Some online retailers have started hiring their own motorcycle delivery men, hoping to beat the traffic. Online shopper Tysiąc Rahman says he's slowly getting used to ordering from the internet.
To be honest, I am not really fond of paying upfront before I get the product because it's just beyond my comfort zone. But when I can pay cash on delivery, I'm very comfortable.
Ashikur sells his goods on Kemu, a website set up by a German internet company that's investing in Bangladesh. With independent analysts estimating the internet penetration here to be still low at about 10%, Kemu expects the online market here to grow in the next few years.
The potential of Bangladesh is huge for a variety of reasons. First of all, a population of 160, 170 million. That's always something that we look at when we decide which countries to expand into. We started here in the beginning of 2014, which was kind of on the back of when the 3G came here, so more and more people are browsing internet from their mobile phone.
Ashikur doesn't need to wait for the future. While not all his neighbors are benefiting from this digital revolution, he says his life has already been transformed. Mahir Sattar, Al Jazeera, Sylheti Bazaar, Bangladesh.
And the former British football star David Beckham told the UN that more needs to be done to protect children from violence, poverty and disease. The UN Goodwill Ambassador spoke about his new initiative known as the 7 Fund, which helps children in poor nations and conflict zones. The UN Children's Fund says more than 15 million children were affected by conflict and poverty in 2014. Well, Beckham, the nice face of football. Let's get the other face of football. Here's Farah.
Julie, thank you so much. The crisis engulfing football's governing body, FIFA, has moved to a whole new level. Swiss authorities have started criminal proceedings against President Sepp Blatter. In a statement, the Swiss Attorney General said Blatter was being investigated on suspicion of criminal mismanagement and misappropriation. Earlier, Blatter was forced to cancel a scheduled press conference at short notice because he was being questioned. Switzerland and the United States are running separate criminal investigations into allegations of corruption surrounding FIFA. In a statement, the Swiss Attorney General said his representatives had searched Blatter's office at FIFA's headquarters in Zurich and seized computer data. The investigation is focused on a TV rights deal Blatter signed with former Caribbean football official Jack Warner. Blatter is also suspected of making a, quote, disloyal payment of more than $2 million to European football president Michel Platini. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by the editor of World Soccer magazine, Gavin Hamilton. Gavin, what are your thoughts on today's developments?
They're extraordinary developments. I mean, this is really the end game for Sepp Blatter. This is the end of his reign as FIFA president, because he's always tried to remain above the fray. And he's always said that he isn't personally corrupt, that other people may have been corrupt, but he was unaware of their corruption. Here, it's clear that the Swiss authorities are going to charge him for personally being corrupt, and this is an extraordinary development. It takes the situation to a whole new level, as you say, and this is really the end game for Blatter. And the end of his time as FIFA president.
Mm-hmm. Well, last week, Jerome Valk, that's the FIFA General Secretary, stepped down because of allegations against him. So can Blatter right now really go on as president?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think there's by all accounts, he's holed up in FIFA House discussing his situation with officials, and I think he will have to be suspended at the very least, referred to the Ethics Committee, which is the body that handles these sort of instances within FIFA. If he's referred to the FIFA Ethics Committee, then he will have to step down as president. He will have to be suspended, and because he's due to stand down in February anyway, when the election takes place for a new president, I think this really is the end for Blatter.
How bad do you think is this for the world of football in general?
It's a potentially very serious development. I think the payments to Jack Warner we knew about, so the contract with Jack Warner, the TV deals, that's been known for some time. But the really new development today is the alleged payment to Michel Platini, because Platini is the favourite to succeed Blatter in February's election, and he's now implicated in the whole scandal with Blatter making what the Swiss authorities describe as a disloyal payment for work that he conducted for Blatter between 1999 and 2002, but the payment, according to the Swiss authorities, was not made until 2011, and you have to question, why was there such a delay in the payment? And 2011, of course, was the time when Platini made a decision not to stand against Blatter in the election then. So you have to wonder whether the payment was connected to that decision. But it's an extraordinary development, and very, very serious, not just for Blatter, but also for Platini, his potential successor.
Interesting times. Okay, Gavin Hamilton, thanks so much for your time. Georgia's match with Argentina, the Rugby World Cup, has just started. The Eastern European country began the tournament with a surprise win over Tonga. Robin Forrester-Walker reports from Georgia on the country's unlikely but special relationship with rugby.
These young fans hope that Georgia can go further than it's ever gone before at a Rugby World Cup. Anything seems possible after the national team beat Tonga.
They're great players. They play a fantastic game. They're defending Georgia, and when they come back, I believe they will bring back the cup.
That may be youthful optimism for rank outsiders. But Georgians already have reasons to be proud. The national side has qualified for every World Cup since 2003. And at home, the game is thriving. These youngsters are among more than 11,000 registered players.
Rugby was invented in the 19th century in England. When legend has it, a boy picked up a ball at rugby school and ran with it. But these boys can be forgiven for thinking that the sport's roots lie here in Georgia.
Every Easter, some Georgian villages still play the ancient game of lelo. It's chaotic, lawless, but familiar. Georgia's own rough and tumble version of the modern sport. Georgia is a natural fit for rugby, says the man responsible for developing the game here.
There's still an emotional link between the old Lelo tradition and present-day rugby. The seeds were planted in good ground here. In the former Soviet Union, they have basketball. In the Baltics, ice hockey. Rugby is Georgia.
He dreams of a day when young Georgians play the game in the streets. Another win at this World Cup would bring that dream closer to reality. Robin Forestier-Walker, Al Jazeera, TNT.
Red Bull driver Daniel Kvyat was fastest in the second practice session ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix. Rain hit the Suzuka track during both the morning and afternoon sessions. Kvyat was best at navigating the wet weather, clocking a time of 49.277 seconds. He was only 200th of a second ahead of Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg, and championship leader Lewis Hamilton was half a second back in third. Formula One returned to Suzuka for the first time since Jules Bianchi's fatal crash last year. The Marussia driver was severely injured in a crash during the Japanese Grand Prix. The 25-year-old remained comatose until his death in July. Japan's sports minister has resigned due to the troubles with the plans for the country's Olympic stadium. Hagban Shimomura told Prime Minister Shinzo Abe he wanted to take responsibility for the problems. The original plan for the Tokyo 2020 stadium was scrapped in July after the estimated cost rose to over $2 billion. And that's all your sport for now. Shirley, back to you for
Farah,
now.
thanks very much indeed for that. And that is it for this news hour from Doha. David Foster is in our London studio. He's got more news coming up. But from all of us here, bye for now.